When I first got into therapy, recovery, religion, and spirituality all at different times, it's because I was suffering, right? Let's be honest, that's why people do it. No one I've yet met said, I got into all of this stuff because things were going really well. So I just want to make the point up front that the suffering that takes us into any healing paradigm that promises to help us resolve our suffering is happening because of two things: what we think and believe, and what we're not feeling or what we're repressing. In my own life, for example, when I was a kid, my core identity was I'm unwanted and unsafe. That's what I was thinking and believing. And I was thinking and believing it so I didn't have to know, feel, or express anger, right? I repressed anger by believing I'm unsafe and unwanted. So that's what took me in my mid-20s, first into therapy, second into recovery, third into religion, and fourth into spirituality. In therapy, the new thoughts and concepts that they gave me to, replace I'm unsafe and I'm unwanted was you're depressed and you have CPTSD. In recovery, it was you're an addict, you're a recovering addict, and you're a codependent. In religion, they offered me concepts like you're sinful and you're saved. And in spirituality, which is mainly what I want to talk about today, there were these identities. You're unconscious, you're conscious, you're awake, or you're asleep. And again, just as a reminder, all of those concepts from all of those different paradigms I just mentioned were ways that I bamboozled myself out of knowing that I had buried anger in my body, right? They're ways that I kept myself away from the root of suffering. So during my spirituality phase, which was probably from 2008 till 2016, among other things, I was reading and listening to a lot of Eckhart Tolle. I still highly recommend him, especially reading The Power of Now. It's great. But during that period of time, I was really overdoing it. I was suffering so much that I would sometimes just put headphones on and listen to his audiobooks or his CDs for hours. It got to the point where it wasn't even what he was saying, it was just the sound of his voice, right? It would soothe me and my nervous system. And frankly, it would make me feel high. And 5 years later, as we started to develop KI's emotional repression inquiry, I finally figured out why. Because he had had a sudden experience of deprogramming and, as far as I know, resolving emotional repression, he would call it awakening or enlightenment. I was getting my unmet childhood need for safety and love met just by listening to him talk about it. Plus, I was taking on the realities that he was pointing to, like, the now and presence, as my new belief system, which is to say, as my new thoughts and concepts, the ones that were keeping me emotionally repressed, just like I'd done in religion, just like I had done in recovery, just like I had done in therapy. So Eckhart, ostensibly, along with my past sponsors and pastors and therapists, was my new drug dealer. Beliefs, belief systems, worldviews, and identities are drugs, right? And they're drugs because they temporarily soothe me, keep me high, and distract me from the fact that I have buried repressed emotions in my body that are causing all of my suffering. Now, in Eckhart's defense, I will say this. He came the closest to pointing me to the root of suffering, right? He calls it the pain body, but what it is buried and repressed emotions plus old beliefs and thoughts. And that's what Scott and I based the development of the Killer Bee Inquiry's emotional repression work on. So, though of course he doesn't know it, Eckhart is like the drug dealer that helped me get off drugs. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Eckhart. So, given all that, and if you'd like to, it might be good to take a look at your life and ask yourself, who is my current drug dealer? Or drug dealers? Who are the people who are offering me beliefs, belief systems, identities, and worldviews, emotional support, spiritual or religious teaching, clinical concepts, diagnoses, recovery principles? Who is talking about all of that without pointing you to the root of suffering, which is emotional repression? In KI, we call this hiding the ball. Who's hiding the ball from you? Because that person or those people are your drug dealers. And look, drugs are fine, right? Actual drugs, beliefs, belief systems, identities, and worldviews, whatever works for you that soothes your nervous system, that calms you down, great. Your system's gonna need those things as you resolve emotional repression anyway, so that's not the issue. The issue is not having the context for why you're suffering or knowing what's happening to you when you are. I spent close to 20 years not having that context and not knowing what the deal was. And there were times where that was pretty demoralizing. And of course, people will say, it takes what it takes, took what it took. But now that we've got the context around and the tools of emotional repression inquiry, I don't think that's true. I don't think it has to. I think people, if they want to, can take the shortcut. I've watched it happen many times. You don't have to addiction hop, and try a bunch of different drugs before resolving your addiction. I mean, you can if you want to, but what's the point? So if you're at that place where you want to, then tap the link in the caption of the bio. I mentor people in this work, and I do it without any drug dealing.